Being 6:30, call the meeting in order. Please rise and join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Taylor,
Here.
Owens,
Here.
Cummings,
Here.
Raybrook,
Yes.
Carlstrom,
Here.
Peoples.
Here.
And President Whalen.
Here, thank you. Additions or corrections to the business and consent agenda?
No additions, it's already on the agenda, but there's a supplemental memo to 9G in front of council members.
Entertain a motion to approve the business and consent agenda.
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion.
Motion by Braybrook, support by
Support.
Carlstrom. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. This time we'll open the floor for public comment for agenda items. Agendas are up here on the podium if you need one, and we'll start right in the front row. All set? Let it roll.
Nope.
Scott,
Nothing.
Emily? Anybody? All right, close out public comment. We have no public hearing, no old business, new business, wastewater treatment plant project update.
Okay, we've got Joe Benjamin and others from Police and Vandenbrink. I think he's gonna kick it off and introduce them. I'll be running us through the PowerPoint while they're talking, so if I need to go to a different slide and don't catch it, just kind of let me know. And take it from there, Joe.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Happy to be back. We're here to give kind of a brief update on the wastewater project. We understand it's a huge investment on behalf of the village, so want to keep you informed as we go throughout this about 2-year construction period. So we started here in about October, is when we really got the notice to proceed and started getting things moving. The winter months have mostly been kind of demo related work and getting equipment lined up, submittals in and things in place so we can kick this off.
Hit the button on the mic if you don't mind. There you go. Might get rid of some of the reverb. Yep, there you go.
Sorry. So that's kind of how things are shook out over the winter, is really getting things set, so when spring weather finally arrives, we can jump into things. Before we get started, I wanted to kind of give a brief update, or a brief overview, I guess, of the scope, for those of you that aren't familiar with the scope, and I'll turn it over to Corey to give an update on the construction progress. So we can jump to the next slide, Jim. Maybe just the next one, sorry, I can skip over this one.
Right here.
Yeah, that's perfect. So this is an overview, aerial image of the wastewater plant. Really the intent of this slide is to show you visually that we're touching pretty much every area of the facility with this project. Starting with the raw sewage pumping, and then taking things up to the primary clarifier flow splitter. The heart of the project's really in the secondary treatment improvements piece. So the secondary treatment process includes the 2 oxidation ditch trains and the 2 oxidation ditches and 4 clarifiers. For those of you that aren't aware, the everything on the right-hand side, so the oxidation ditch plus the 2 clarifiers have been offline for a little over a decade now. So our goal of this project is really to restore the capacity of the treatment facility. So our first phase of the project is really rehabilitating train 1, which is the train that's been offline. So we will be doing equipment replacement in the oxidation ditch and both of those clarifiers. Once that train is operational, we'll shut down train 2 and do the same thing over there. We're replacing equipment in the ditch plus the 2 clarifiers. Then we're also making improvements to the return activated sludge and waste activated sludge systems. I'm not going to dive too deep in the weeds on that, but that's kind of an overview. And then another big area of improvements is the polishing pond. As Corey will go over, that's been taken offline. We're getting prepared to fill that pond in, because that's going to be the location for the new UV disinfection system, the new control building, plus the new biosoliid storage tank. So on the liquid stream side of things, the UV disinfection will be installed, and then that's kind of the last step before it flows out to the Rogue River. On the solids handling side of things, it's kind of the stuff in blue there. We're adding a new thickening system in the building and then rehabbing the equipment in the 2 aerobic digesters. And then doing some miscellaneous improvements in all the other buildings, chemical feed improvements, all the ancillary related systems, electrical improvements, SCADA improvements. So really, the intent here is a really comprehensive project that touches every piece of the plant. I know many of you have been through many meetings, I guess, over the last several years, so, any questions on that before we move to work completed?
So when is the pond decommissioning gonna be?
The pond was taken offline about 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was around the new year, taken offline, and that work is ongoing.
And then we did soil sampling, and we just got the results back from the soil samples about a week ago. And we're submitting that all to Eagle, tomorrow. We have our decommission plan submitted.
Alright, thanks.
Any other questions on scope?
Do we have a target when you think you might be done?
Right now, our substantial completion projection is September of 2027. So September of next year. So really our goal for 2026 is to get that train that's been offline back online. And then to do the work that's in that polishing pond. And then, like I said, once we get the first train rebuilt, then we'll switch over to the second train, and that will really be kind of the next summer type of thing.
It could be done quite a bit quicker, but we still have to treat the water that's coming in, so, could be all done at once, it would be a little bit quicker project, but since half the plant has to stay online while the other plant is built, and then it's a juggling game, that's gotta be played down there.
I still think having it done by September 27 is pushing it hard.
We're cracking the whip on my subcontractors to get this done. Yeah, that's really an overview of the scope, and then we can kind of get into some of the stuff that's been completed to date. Turn it over to Corey.
Sure, good evening. We can just keep going. Gene.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna zoom back out a little bit.
So we touched on the scope there. So here are photos of the clarifiers 1 and 2 that are offline, as well as the polishing pond. So the polishing pond polishes the effluent. It also provides chlorine contact for disinfection as the last step of the treatment process. So in order to decommission the polishing pond and still have that treatment, we had to have a temporary chemical feed system installed. So frac tanks were installed with weirs in them to be able to achieve the required chlorine contact time to still have reliable disinfection on the site here. So the first step was to get those frac tanks on site installed and online, and then we worked on getting the pond offline and drained. And so if we head to the next slide here, this is what the pond looked like around the new year. And then one of our spring days that we recently had is an updated photo of what the pond is like now. So as Joe mentioned, the pond's been drained. The residuals, any biosolids that were in there have been removed. The existing PVC liner of the pond has been removed. We got the soil sample results back, and now we're in a holding pattern to get that pond decommissioned and filled for the proposed biosolid storage tank in the new building, UV chamber, to go in this area. So work is underway, and the temporary chemical feed system is online and functioning. Moving on to oxidation ditch number 1. This is the train that was built in the 80s and has been offline for a handful of years now. Photo on the left there kind of shows the existing condition. There's some debris in the tank that still is yet to be removed, and then the old rotors and the aerator covers there. So the photo on the right, all the existing or majority of the existing equipment has been removed, taken off site. Manufacturers come out to do field measurements to get all the appropriate bearing pads and shafts and new oxidation ditch parts and pieces in order. Since we are going into the existing tanks that need to meet the existing footprint of the infrastructure that's already here. So that equipment is on order and should be here later this summer. The next step in the treatment process are the secondary clarifiers. So these tanks, again, as Joe mentioned, have been offline for quite some time. You can see all the clarifier mechanism and the influent pipe. And so all of those parts and pieces now have been removed besides a portion of that influent pipe. And then the bridge and catwalk there will remain. So all of the other internal tank components are being replaced. That manufacturer was on site just earlier in March here doing final field measurements to get all that equipment here for the summer or early fall installed. Hopefully for the weather later this year.
So once the project's done, will you be able to waste and return independently of each other?
Yes. So on to the next slide, I think it is. Oh no, we got one more. You can go to the next one, Jim. I thought it was the existing grass building. But this is the existing lab building, digester control building. This is where staff were performing daily lab analytical results. And we were able to do a temporary lab in one of the existing buildings on site so that staff can continue to run the lab on site, keep that all in-house. But this space here, all the cabinetry is going to pull out, and then this is going to be the new aerobic digester blower room. And there's some other miscellaneous improvements throughout this building as well. But converting the old lab into the new blower building or the new blower room, and then there's going to be a new lab and process control building out to the biosoliid storage.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Corey, I want to jump in there just for a quick second. So on that temporary lab, our staff really wanted to keep it in-house. We had the option of contracting out, and they wanted to stay up to snuff and keep their skills sharp, and then also save the village quite a bit of money. So certainly appreciate our staff being willing and able to do that, and our team here finding a temporary solution. So that's, I think we calculated maybe around a $30,000 savings for the village by staff finding a workaround to do it on site and not contract out in the interim. Also has the benefit of them keeping their, keeping up to date on lab and that kind of thing. So figured it'd be a good time to call that out, because I think it's a good thing, and I know it's something that Conrad and I are really proud of, so wanted to mention it. All right, continue.
Yeah, so on the next slide, on the right-hand photo there, on the right there, the green blowers. So those are the existing digester blowers. So those blowers will be removed from this existing room, and the new blowers in the existing lab will take over place for these. So we're keeping these ones online, trying to open up the other space. The new blower should be in here in April, May timeframe, get that installed, started up, come back over here, tear these blowers out, and then keep on with the improvements. So a lot of staging, sequencing, trying not to disrupt the process too much for Conrad and his staff. And the photo on the left are the existing return activated sludge pumps that have not been functioning for a while. So these pumps have now been removed and will be replaced, and then we'll be able to operate train 1 independently of train 2 with the new return sludge, wasting sludge system. Two completely separate trains.
So the building that currently houses the aerobic digester blowers, is that going to be repurposed or?
This is the same building. One's the east side, one's the west side. And if we go to the next slide, it had a sludge thickener in there as well. So full RDC thickener, some polymer feed, some transfer pumping there. And then the next slide is our current state. All return pumps have been removed, the thickener has been removed. As you can see on that left photo, there's that brown door and that blue wall in the background. That wall has now been removed. And in the photo on the right, you can kind of see the change in the wall color as to where that wall used to be. So that building that was divided into 2 rooms, a blower room and a sludge room, has now been made into 1 room, and it will be the return sludge and thickening room. So a new thickener will go in there, a handful of return sludge pumps, new polymer skid, a few other miscellaneous items, and then the blowers will get moved to the existing digester control building.
Is there any resale value on any of this equipment that's being removed?
Conrad and staff have been trying to hold on to as many parts and pieces that they can that they see value in the future. But most of it is beyond its expected useful life and limping along currently.
So scrap price?
Yeah, the mechanical contractor is responsible for removing it, because an expense to that as well, so. We kind of, the village gets first right of refusal, if they want it, they'll move it to the spot, and the village can hold on to it and deal with it from there. But some of this larger unique equipment, it's just easier for them to get off the site, and it's a tight site already, and hate to have stuff just pile up and not have the guys have time to get it, actually hauled out of there, so. Contractor's responsible for getting all of it out of there if the village doesn't want it. And there's been a few parts and pieces that we've held on to, but the majority of it is got taken off by contractor, mechanical contractor. The next few slides here are just a few aerial photos, that we took in, I want to say November timeframe. So throughout the process here, we'll take a handful of aerial photos to just show progress of the facility. So from left to right, it's the primary clarifier, and that's oxidation ditch number 2, and final clarifiers 3 and 4. So that's train 2 of the treatment plant. Oxidation ditch number 1 with the colorful center rings is currently offline, and that's our first order of business to get up and running.
So is it designed to be pretty seamless, to take, once everything's done in operation, take one ditch online, or like put both ditches online, have the clarifier off, like, is that a pretty manual process, or is it kind of like, you have an actuator, you just push a button and you can direct the flow?
Yeah, the actual direction of the flow will be pretty straightforward. The one thing you have to be kind of careful of is the transfer of mixed liquor, so you actually have a biomass there to treat the influent wastewater. So that's gonna be kind of a little bit of a balancing act, especially if you're just bringing one online and just taking another offline. You might have to use a portable pump to transfer mixed liquor so you can get it there fast enough so you have the biomass to make the treatment. But, once the system's actually operational, we don't anticipate that there's gonna be these rapid swings in ditches coming online and offline. That really should be kind of a planned event.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll run both of the trains, the old one and the new one, I'll call it new, rehabbed train simultaneously until we're arriving meeting effluent criteria on the new side. And then swap the old one, take it down, drain all the tanks out, and then start that improvement. But off the primary clarifier, it's hard to see, but there's a little splitter box right there, and that's where there's 2 stoplights in there. Whichever stoplights, one stoplight's in, all the flow goes to one ditch train. If you pull them both out, the flow splits and goes to 2 separate trains. So it's to put the ditch on or offline, it is a manual stop action.
So you have to be there and pull them up, or is there gonna be like a gantry set up to help? I know sometimes those plates, after they've been in service for a while, just really seize up and can be a pain to remove.
Sure. I don't think there's anything over top of it, but it's a solid concrete area or something.
It's one of those things you could put a hoist for a gantry, a socket base for a gantry. That's pretty expensive part, so we could, certainly include that.
The next one was just a kind of a photo on the east side of the plant, looking back at the town here. You can see all the parts and pieces, the water tower, kind of looking up Gardner Street there. So that was all we had. The upcoming work, we had talked about it, but backfilling the polishing pond, getting ready for concrete for the new building and the new biosolid storage tank. Hopefully starting on construction of that tank in the coming months here, getting the biosolid storage tank up and online. That will be able to be functioning as soon as it is built. And then start the process, control building, foundations in, get the walls up, get the roof on the building enclosed yet this summer. And then as the equipment shows up, getting the new oxidation ditch equipment and clarifier equipment in that oxidation ditch train number 1. And then biosolids aerobic digestion system and thickening systems. Primary focus is the biological treatment process, and then all the other biosolids, solids handling improvements as we're going. Critical path is keeping focused on the train that's offline, and then the train that's currently online, getting that all in place, because that is going to be what takes the most time. trying to get all the other work done concurrently. Any other questions or details council has?
Everybody set?
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
thanks, guys. Yeah, just for council's awareness, we meet regularly with the team as you would expect, and we'll do updates as we go along, kind of as needed. We figured we were at a point where we had a little bit to share, and when we get to a point where there's more to show graphically and with pictures, we'll do another update. So, thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy your night. Don't feel obligated to stick around, so.
Thanks, Bob.
Right, moving on, Bedford Falls site condominium approval.
Okay, I'm gonna get to this in the packet here, but I'd like to have Ben Deal come to the dais while I get that loaded up. Ben is with Allen Edwin Homes. If you want to introduce yourself. I'm
Good
gonna-
evening,
where I wanna
Ken
be at.
Deal, Allen Edwin Home. The land acquisition for them. Had the opportunity to come and speak to you back in August about this project. The reason for the visit this evening is we're at the final site plan approval. And we talked to village staff because we wanted to pivot this from a standard plat in the state of Michigan to a site condo. The reason for that is currently the platting process with the state of Michigan is taking an exceptionally long time. The last 3 plats that were done, 2 of which were done by other people that we purchased lots from, have ranged between 5 and 7 months after construction is complete to get the final plat approved by the state of Michigan. As a result, in order to ensure there's some predictability about our being able to begin construction on houses out there, we've asked to pivot to the site condo concept. In this case, for the site condo, it's functionally the same as a plat, other than it gets approved at a county level. There will be a condominium association that has to be formed as a result of this. However, the condominium association is going to have no common elements as a part of it. The roadways and all the other structures will become portions of the village to maintain in perpetuity. That hopefully will alleviate any questions about who's responsible for maintaining things in the future and remove that sort of uncertainty as it moves forward. But that's the principal reason for it. I know that one of the council members expressed some concern about the CBU. We are going to be petitioning the post office to try and remove the CBU. I was informed by our staff as of this morning that in the last 4 or 5 years, everyone that we petitioned to have excluded,
Yeah.
we've been denied that.
Yeah,
So
I've done a fair amount of research into it, and I'm hoping that we're a little bit unique in the fact that all the roads and the infrastructure are going to be built to village standards and are going to become a part of the village. That maybe that it will be looked at a little differently.
I'm hopeful also, right? I would like the mail service to be standard delivery, much like the rest of the community. However, these decisions aren't necessarily made at the village level. They always get reported up the line, and it's easier for the folks up the line to say no than it is for them to think about how this actually impacts the village and the people that live there. So we're gonna give it our give it the old college try.
And if they deny it, I will talk to them too. Just
Please.
I mean, not that it'll make any difference. It'll make me feel better at least.
Yeah, no, we give them all the support that you
Yeah.
guys can give us, right, on that. So it can only help.
It just to me, it just doesn't make sense to have an association just for a mailbox. Like,
Yeah, I know. So I agree with you 100%. With that, any questions that you have, please feel free.
And I'll add a little bit to what
Yeah.
Ben said there. Yeah, we've been working on this for quite some time. Council's already, approved the preliminary layout. What you have in front of you hasn't really changed a whole lot from them. We are at the moment still going with the dual Eagle Lane there, or double Eagle Lane. However, we're still in conversations with the Bedford Falls Association, and there's still some hope we could maybe come to an understanding on the road, but if not, this offers a path forward for Allen Edmond to where we won't be missing this construction season. So I think that's why it's important to, keep the process moving forward, because even after tonight, if it's approved by council, ultimately, there's still a number of things Allen Edmond has to do with our engineering team and with our attorney and with my office. So this is just kind of the last stop at the council, if you will. But if we were able to come to an understanding on the road and go over to, one road there instead of two, then there's still a little bit of time to do that. So we're still having those conversations, but we're to a point, obviously being March, that it's important that we keep the ball rolling forward on it. So I did want to comment on that. I also wanted to comment on the fact that I remember when I started as village manager, the first meeting I had was actually related to Bedford Falls, and what can we do to get Bedford Falls going and get that built out given the housing needs. And certainly our planning commission did a wonderful job with our new master plan and with our updated zoning. And it's just nice to see, some return on that investment of time. And I know it's been about 20 years since this got started, and there's a giant pile of dirt there that's kind of a monument to the past that this spring will be moving and moving on from. So I think that's a main takeaway I wanted to kind of leave everyone with. I mean, obviously, let's ask the questions that you have on the engineering and those kinds of things, but the idea of 63 brand new houses being built in the village and being brought to market within our, the confines of our zoning and all the rules, pretty excited about that.
So one thought, I'm not sure if you guys have tested that soil, but I mean, if it's clean fill, might be worth seeing if the sports park has use for it, depending on, I don't know what quality sand it is, or
I don't know exactly what the composition. Chris Cohane, my colleague, he handles the engineering piece. Hallelujah, he showed up just in time.
I had it in my mind this meeting wasn't 7, I apologize. But yeah, we did actually do a boring in there, we're gonna use some more test digs. It looks like it's mostly clay, there's some topsoil mixed in. So typically when we engineer a development, we try to eliminate haul off if we can help it. So we actually designed phase 1, which is the southerly phase, to actually use up a lot of that dirt. So we built the road up a little bit higher than, if we didn't have that pile there, so that we could use a lot of that for structural fill. So right now, our current dirt plan has that we'll be using most of it. There might be a little bit of excess. And so, if there's a need for it somewhere else, we're certainly open to talk about that.
We need sand.
sand. Okay, well, I wasn't sure what it was gonna be, so.
Any other members have any questions? I mean, this obviously, it's been through planning before, it's been through here before, but this is a more sort of finalized version. You'll have seen in your packet, there's a memo from our engineer, and what I draw your attention to most is there's a number of contingencies, I guess you'd say, that I'd like baked into the motion if we get to that point, just so we can make sure those boxes get checked. Are there any questions on it?
So that in the event that an agreement can be had with the current association to make one road, that's built into the agreement, so that our what we're passing tonight, so we don't have to redo it.
Well, they would have to re-engineer quite a bit, but they're willing to do that, given, within a reasonable amount of time, obviously, but no, we wouldn't have to come back to council.
Yeah, so Double Eagle Lane currently is in phase 2 of the development, so I'm not exactly sure when that's gonna happen. We plan on building phase 1 certainly this year. If between now and whenever we are shovel ready or we're ready to pull the trigger on phase 2, based on when we need the inventory, if between now and that time, we can come to an agreement with the association to, get that road dedicated to the public and eliminate that second road, we're totally applicable to that.
And there's communication there between the association and.
I've been handling that. It hasn't really been from Alan when I've been talking with the folks that are here, so yeah, I've been doing that communication.
Just to clarify though, that abandoning the second Eagle Lane, but the original Eagle Lane is gonna be widened to village standards and specs, so if the agreement is reached with the association.
So I think what we proposed, and one of the reasons for this is because that road has an inverted crown. So it's not the typical where it goes to the catch basins on the outside, there's no curb. We don't want to disturb any of the driveways on that road, so our goal is not to destroy that road and repave it. we were just proposing to add an 8-foot wide lane on the south end, so essentially it would turn into a 26-foot wide road. There could be parking on that side of the road, and then, you know, the 2 existing 9-foot lanes would still be maintained.
And the only thing I'd add to that, I don't really wanna like negotiate it in public here, but like we're open to, you know, what ideas the association might have too, if they need some tweaks to that, but so that's why it's sort of an ongoing conversation, but that is what we were putting forward, so.
Okay, any other questions? Alright, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the site condominium with the contingencies listed within the memo in front of you.
Make that motion to approve.
Motion by Cummings. Support by
I'll
Raybrook. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't feel compelled to stick around if you wanna head out and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
All right, ordinance 2601 is an ordinance to amend section 82-106, keeping of animals of the village of Sparta.
Okay, as council probably saw, there's actually a little bit of a news article on this, which was kind of fun. We had our planning commission public hearing on it, 2 planning commission meetings on it. And it's at the point now where it's ready for council action in terms of ordinance 2601. So it makes a few basic changes to the ordinance, clarifies and simplifies a handful of things. Basically, ultimately, if you have an 8,000 square foot lot or larger, you could apply for up to 12 chickens after you've demonstrated 1 year of compliance with the 6. So we thought that was a good way of allowing more chickens for people who have had chickens and have, you know, feel the need to have more and have done a good job with them without, you know, opening up too much at the beginning. 75% of our current chicken license holders would qualify for the increased amount. It does also, you know, we did the fairly major zoning ordinance update a couple of years ago, as council will remember and planning commission will remember. So it brings the lot size minimums into line with the new minimum. It also, one second here. It also, of course, correspondingly requires the pen and coop size to be doubled. If you're gonna have double the chickens, that way they have the minimum amount of space required. And it eliminates some language that we realized was unenforced related to the sale of eggs. And with that, I mean, that's all I really had on it. I don't know if Councilman Peoples, he's been a leader on this, wanted to add anything. I know you've spoke on it a couple of times.
No, nothing else to add, unless anybody has any questions.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions at all? None, entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2601.
So moved. Make that motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion by Carlstrom,
Support.
Owens?
support by Owens. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
people sure do love their chickens.
They do.
Moving on, statement of qualification, engineering award approval.
All right, I'm gonna call Mr. William Hunter, our Director of Public Works, to the podium, and he'll be taking a majority of the memos in the packet from here. He and I worked together on all of these, but he is gonna kind of take the lead on them. This one, in a nutshell, is a project that both he and I and the rest of our staff team are pretty excited about. We've identified another grant funding opportunity for both Gardner Street and for Martindale. And we've already secured $1 million in funding through the help of Congressman John Molinar. He's been very good to the village over the years, so we've already secured $1 million in funding for the Gardner Street portion. However, that million doesn't cover the entirety of the project. And in looking at other funding avenues to pair with that million, we realized that we could probably do this Martindale corridor project as well, you know, if we, with the right application. Dug into it a little bit further and realized that in order to count the engineering expenses towards the potential grant, we had to go through a very specific statement of qualifications process. So that's why instead of using the different process that we've used in the past. We use this very specific statement of qualifications because it's what the federal government requires for this particular grant program. So that's what we're looking at. Ultimately, you know, if successful, we're under no obligation. So if we don't get the grant, we don't have to do the Martindale project. It is already identified in our CIP, though both of these projects are. However, you know, taken together, they're a fairly substantial amount of money that it's going to take, probably in the, I would say, 8 to 10 million range, roughly, maybe a little less. For both of them. And what they would do is, you guys are already aware of the Gardner Street project from the CIP. We've talked about that. That's the one that's gonna upsize the sewer that conveys all the waste to the treatment plant along Gardner and is a total reconstruct of that road. The Martindale project would move the sewer from behind Tessa Tape onto Martindale. It'd be a total reconstruct of Martindale. It would put water and sewer on Martindale and free up space for Tessa Tape to expand where our sewer currently is. It's something that they've talked about over the course of several years with the village, and it's not really feasible for the village to fund that or Tessa alone. They will be a funding partner on it if it does go forward as part of the grant, and then obviously there'll be some federal resources and local resources that we're gonna bring to bear. So I wanted to give a highlight on like what this SOQ is for before turning it over to Bill on the process and how the scoring went and who we're ultimately recommending. So with that, Bill, please take on over. There you go.
Hold it down.
You gotta kind of hold it for a second.
Okay,
It's not on. Go ahead, Bill.
yeah, I'm just gonna go. So,
The aerial will pick you up anyway.
as Jim stated, actually, we had to go through an SOQ process. We reached out to, firms that, we feel comfortable with and we've used in the past. Fleece and Vanderbrink was one, Brian Newhoff, Manick and Smith Group. Manick Smith Group and Spalding de Decker. All these groups, actually, the proposals that they submitted were really strong. It was, as you can see from the scoring we had, for example, out of a total 100 points, the difference actually between, number one and the final one, you're looking at probably about 17. So they scored very high. The two actually I thought had the strongest proposals with Fleece and Vanderbrink and Prine and Newhoff. However, Manick Smith, theirs was really strong as well, capacity and experience wise. But ultimately, as the scores went, when I went through the review, I felt more comfortable recommending Fleece and Vanderbrink score wise. So in front of you actually is their proposal, and that's the one we'd like to proceed and move forward. Both of these projects, as Jim stated, the Gardner Street project we initially had in the 2027 as about 3.465 million. And the Martindale corridor is 4.478 million. As Jim stated, actually, the sewer goes through there. There is actually, moving the sewer down Martindale is some savings, specifically when you look at the railroad crossing. If we could move that sewer over there, we won't have to actually negotiate with the railroad to get a bigger casing underneath there. So that's one possibility. And also as well as the 2024 water reliability study calls for a 12-inch up there to improve our water reliability on that side of the village. And again, it was very close. These are all great firms. However, like as Jim stated, we had to go through an SOQ process to get qualified to get these funds reimbursed through the grant process. So I'm here to answer any questions actually that you might have from the staff report for me.
I do, Bill.
Yes.
Okay, how do you get these maximum points? How is that set up? And then how does one score those points?
Well, those points are basically actually from staff's interpretation of reading the proposals. So we had the criteria of like for example, understanding the Spartan system and project needs. It's based on our interpretation, reading the proposals. Did they communicate that well in the proposals? And for example, technical approach, hydraulic expertise, and again, the FDA, EDA funding. So those are just staff's interpretation of the proposals and us scoring.
Okay, and then that's on there and then it's scored how? I mean, who does the scoring per se?
I did the scoring on all of them, sir.
Okay, so it was the same, okay, you had something that they had to fill out to get to a point, what they have done in the past, or how did somebody get 24 out of 25? I'm just asking how.
Well, that would
close.
just be based on the criteria that I put on there. They didn't know the criteria, actually, the scoring criteria. So their proposals were based on the RFQ that they received, the SOQ that they received. They submitted it and then I evaluated the proposals, then based on this criteria.
But if you're asking about the grant, you know, is scored by the federal government. These are just our scores for the engineering.
Oh, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
No,
that's
I'm not
what-
sure. Were you asking about the grant or were you
No,
asking?
no, I was just asking how, how, you scored all these from what one person might say to what another person might
Yeah,
say,
in order to have-
and who the person doing the scoring.
Great question. In order to have consistency on that, we had Bill do all the scoring to make sure that each of them was being looked at with the same eye. So Bill to a person scored all of the proposals.
And then the criteria that you scored them upon was given to you based on what the grant requires.
Given to me based on their proposal they submitted, so I had this criteria, and I say, okay, based on the proposal you submitted, it looks like they had a good understanding of the system, the construction experience, through their proposal, they usually include on the proposals who they have attached, so I'm looking through their qualifications, who their team is, so I compare it to a lot like an interview of a person for a job, if that makes sense. So you have criteria you set up ahead of time, who you want to interview. This is the same process.
But
So you could, sorry.
yeah, oh, no, I think what he said, we had to use a fairly standard format for this though, that the federal government requires. That's how, we didn't just make this up out of thin air. It's a template that, you know, is very standard across municipalities. I mean, it's not the same one, but it's the parameters that
It's
they
one
look
that's
for.
used in
Yeah,
other
it's one he's
grants.
using on, yeah. Is that what you were asking?
that's
Is
what I was
that-
asking.
I think he was more asking like, how did we come up with the SOQ process? And it's not something that, you know, Bill or I invented. It's something other municipalities use. So we just kind of built off of that, if that was what you're,
That's what I was.
I thought that
looking
was
for.
more of what you're, sorry, Bill. but yeah.
No, no problem.
Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion to, authorize the village manager to negotiate professional services agreement with Fleece and Vandenbrink for engineering services related to the planned water and wastewater infrastructure improvements within Gardner and Martindale.
There you go.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Carlstrom,
I'll support.
support by Taylor. Any other discussion? I'd like to thank the staff personally for all your hard work you put into this and digging into finding grants like that. And I mean, this is a giant grant if we can get it, so.
Martindale could really use the rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's certainly something we're excited about. We do think that, I mean, I don't want to get our hopes up too high. We do think we have a good shot at this in terms of, we've already met with the agency, with the federal government that gives out the grant, briefed them on what we're trying to do and our whole process, and that they seemed very receptive to it. It's a very niche, you know, pile of money that other municipalities don't qualify for. So that's gonna put us towards the top of the pile and then going through, you know, this SOQ process. So we're trying to check all the boxes, and if we get it, as the president mentioned, I mean, that's a lot of money for the village, and it's stuff that's in our plan anyway that we need to do. So if we're able to lock this down, it just pairs beautifully with all the other projects we've been doing, including the sewer plant. So obviously, we don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll do our best to put us in that position.
Just tear up that end of town all at once and get it all done and over with, right?
Put flowers behind.
I mean, joking aside, like with these two done in the wastewater plant, I mean, we will be set up from a, you know, infrastructure standpoint for a very long time. So it would be very exciting.
All right, any other questions? All in favor?
I
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Moving on, road project bid approval. Bill?
Yes, Your Honor, in front of you, similar to what we've done in last year's, we partner with the, Kent County Road Commission through their local roads program. And so this year, we did that, the bids went out, and the low bid actually read aloud was, Michigan Paving and Materials Company. The amount of.
231.
$235,138. We did budget $277,000, so a little bit less than what we budgeted. Similar to, like I said, other projects we had, we did lump sum in here, for example, some concrete work as well as construction services for Kent County Road Commission. I don't believe actually looking over these roads and driving through them, past couple of days, I don't see us using a lot of the, concrete curb cut. Maybe some minor stuff, but nothing to the extent that we've used before. And they're looking like actually construction anticipated schedule on this one's gonna go a little earlier than last year, so a time frame of May to August 31st of 2026. Similar to last year when they give us notice and they have X number of weeks to do it. As soon as they give us notice, then it's that. And that's why they have these big time frames. They can get such a cheaper, they're called fill-in projects. So they give the pavers, this is the time you can do it, so when they have maybe a larger project, they can go over here and do a smaller one. But as soon as they give us notice, they have X number of weeks, and usually 2 or 3 weeks to get it done.
Just to couple with what Bill said there, so these were all projects that council selected during this year's CIP, so it's Elmwood Street, Park Lane, White Street, Orchard Street, Pine to State, Kings Boulevard, Anderson to State, and West Gardner, Pine to State. That west portion isn't in the reconstruct piece that's on the west side, so as Bill mentioned, so we bundled these with Kent County Road Commission as we have in the past to get that economies of scale. That's worked out really well for the village. We're once again under budget on this. Even if we did do all the curb work and concrete work, which we probably aren't gonna need, that's just a contingency item, so. I just wanted to point out what the process was on there. I know we have a new member, so let you know what we did in the past, but that's what we're looking at.
We're looking at going 3.5 inches in all these roads. So it's gonna be, you're not gonna see too much reflect cracking, probably little than that. So usually when you go like less than 3.5, we go 2.5 or 1.5. That's when you get some reflect cracking, but these ones.
Is there any way that when they're paving this, we don't end up with a seam in the center of the road?
It's kind of hard not to with the spreaders and stuff.
The reason I bring that up is, I just lost the name of the road, Long Angel is there.
Elm.
There you go. We had just had that road resurfaced prior to you coming on board. And was told that road would last 20 years, no problem. And that center seam all the way down is cracked out.
Is this unraveled?
What's that?
Which road again? I'm sorry.
Elm. I
The
think
one
so.
the one that runs north and south along Angel is there.
Okay.
It was given it was gonna happen.
But wasn't there something with like the temperature wasn't high enough or?
No, our past DPW supervisor guaranteed that road would be 20 years with no issues. You could see it, when it was paved, that it should have been addressed at that time, but
As you wiggle with the pavers, you're gonna get, and I say a seam, but usually if they roll it right, you don't really see it. So I guess I wasn't there at the time, but maybe they had a problem like what Robert was saying with temperature wise, because if it gets too cold. And maybe because if they do the one side, for example, and it gets too cold and they're doing the other side and then it seems more prominent, but if you get it really hot, you're getting another roll really quick and you're getting the roll.
yeah, I'm fairly
But
certain.
I can discuss that actually with Kent County to make sure.
I'm fairly certain that was done during the summer months when that was paved.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there was something that could have been caught on inspection, but it wasn't.
That was the ripples. I mean, when you
Okay.
drove down it, it was ripple chattered, but just, I don't know, pet peeve on that center strip in there always seems to wanna separate, so.
I can bring that up with Kent County to make sure, but I don't, the last couple times I've been here, I don't think they. And this was before we went with Kent County, this project here.
Yes.
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 That might be the issue, because if we're bundling, as Jim said, with Kent County, so it's a bigger project, so they've got more stuff coming. So they're really probably even doing ours when they're doing a bigger one.
I have a lot
Do
more
a smaller
confidence.
job, now all of a sudden, we're really not a high priority, because they're a smaller job, we're paying more for the ton. But then they're getting more money, even less ton for with a bigger project, so we're kind of probably getting the, I don't know, I'm speculating.
And being with Kent County, I mean, if they do bad work, then that's a pretty big contract to lose.
I have a lot more confidence in the finished product, so. But that being brought up, it probably should be looked at and see what we can do with it.
I will,
You know,
I'll take a look at it tomorrow.
All right, any questions?
I just have one question. Orchard Street and Kings Boulevard both run Anderson to State Street. So, and I apologize if this has already been mentioned. Why is Orchard Street only being done Pine to State Street? That's just like half the road.
That's probably just money purposes, just fitting it in,
Yeah, just budget.
Okay.
just budget limits. There's sometimes, I mean, sometimes it's a struggle when you're out of road, it's like, well, I could go further, but then you're trying to actually do more roads, and I always call it like Project Creep, where you wanna do a little bit more, it always looks like you could go a little bit further. But bottom line, it does end up with, you only have so much money, so sometimes I pick it in like, here's the limits.
Sure. It's just one of the shorter streets.
Yeah.
So I just wondered why.
Any other questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the low bid for Michigan Paving and Materials Company in the amount of $235,138.50, and also authorize concrete curb work and inspection services totaling $40,000 through Kent County Road Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Frager, support by Cummings. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 7-0. Here's my long overdue item, hot box purchase approval. This is something that I have wanted for years, and finally, we're gonna get one.
Yes.
Does Bill need to say anything? No.
You cannot patch roads, correctly without
Yes.
the correct equipment, so.
That is, yes, Your Honor, you're absolutely correct. When I first got here, that was, one of the things I noticed, when you're doing patching without a hot box, there's a sacrificial amount of, asphalt that you lose. If you're doing it real quick, say you got a 5-ton dump truck and you've got like 2-3 ton on there, you're gonna lose half a ton. That's if you got 6 guys working hard and going quick. You have 3 guys, 2 tons, you're gonna lose a ton. Or you're gonna lose a ton and a half. Or you're gonna get it at a temperature to where it's just gravel, and what you're putting on is, you should have used cold patch. So I noticed that when I first got here and I stopped staff from doing it, I just thought we were just wasting money, so that's why you've only seen us doing cold patch. With this, actually, the purchase of this 2-ton hot box, we're able to do 2 guys out, take your time, and just do it right. I mean, they still have a time period, because you're gonna burn out the asphalt, but they can take their time. You have 2 guys doing it, there's not a rush, you got the temperature control on there, and you can take your time, square some stuff off. You could even square off some small patches beforehand and have them done and do it. With this also is a tack take, so if you want to do a smaller, like 1.5 inches, and you have some takes, usually what sometimes happens, some roads is the top where of course comes off, you still at the base, so you're over top of an asphalt. What also staff wasn't doing before is using tack. If you don't use tack as a binder with any asphalt, laying asphalt over top of cold asphalt, that asphalt will lift up. Tack is the glue that keeps everything on. If you don't use enough tack, it'll come up. So we're gonna have a hot tack tape on here, which is just, we're gonna do the pour pot method, which is a preferred method I like. It's just that the tank keeps hot, you have a bottom rack, you got a front cup. You pour it down and you use brooms and spread it up. I like it thick, and I think the thicker the better it's gonna stick. Personal pet peeve of mine is that peeling up. So, this one actually comes with a dump body. Historically, though, this little fun fact, the first dump hot box was one I purchased actually with, City of Grand Haven. And it was the first one they ever built. They brought it out and said, don't take any pictures, this is the first one, so it's pretty fun. That was the first one actually to have a hot dump box, so now it's a standard, so. There'll be an LED package, we aren't gonna go with the reclaimer. You can do the special option, it's about $6,000 more in here, it's a reclaimer. Reclaiming is taking cold asphalt, like say for example, take asphalt, put it in rows, let it freeze up, let it cool off, chunk it off, store it, reclaim it. You're allowed to do that once, maybe twice, you can reuse it. Storing it, putting it someplace, a lot of municipalities spend the extra money to do it, and they never do it. I'm not a big fan, if you don't have the guys to do it, don't do it. So I think a lot of municipalities pay for it, for example, South Haven did that, none of my guys there did any kind of. Never did, so I don't see the point of that until it's 6,000 to 7,000 and something. The 2-ton, we did look at a 3-ton option. I think a 2-ton will work out this great. And I don't think a 4-ton would, I think that's just too much, I think we'd be using half of it, so. And the trailer unit's gonna work out great inside of here, we are auctioning off a couple pieces of equipment and we'll have room in there for us. Does any council have any questions on the hot box?
You know, another benefit on that too is just the height that the employees are gonna be working off from. Just trying to do, especially with the trucks, I mean, they keep building them taller and taller and, to try to shovel out from a pickup truck versus this box is, it's safety too, so.
We had Heather actually get right up on there, she's the shortest one, she had to get the top off, so. We did have them come up and demonstrate it, it was staff, really has a good buy-in on it, so. The staff had some really good inputs, that they came in with one that was decked out, and we actually eliminated some stuff that we didn't want. And actually, we were gonna put on ourselves after it comes in and save some money. A lot of the stuff that's on a hot box, the additions that they'll tell you in there, if you look it up, you can actually do it cheaper yourself.
No, this is gonna be a great addition to your tools that you have at hand to keep the roads, in tip-top shape, so. Bill?
Yeah, I got a question. Yeah, help me. I've been trying to get my head around this one. So this hot box, it keeps the asphalt warm. You pour it in. Okay, then how do you, the flat, are gonna be required to get a little, like a roller or pad? How does it work?
Yeah, we're gonna use this, a hand factor that we have. We already have an existing plate compactor we'll use. So we'll just use a hand. We're not gonna use a roller. Other bigger municipalities had rollers, but then I was using a 4-ton hot box, and like I said, I had about 6 guys doing it. We're only doing small ones, probably maybe the size of this table, maybe a little bit bigger, where we can actually judge it, we'll rake it out, and then we'll just hand pack it.
Okay, hand pack it, I mean shovel and
It's
then
a vibrator.
vibrator.
It looks
Okay,
like
okay, like for dirt.
Yep,
that kind-
exact same one.
Okay, and then it's the roller over it then?
This one won't be, this would be a plate one. You can get roller packers, but we're probably just gonna use the plate one that we have. We have an existing one already that we have. Compactor, we'll use that one. We have a spot right on there, we'll place it on there. Then every time there's bigger patches we're gonna do, we'll use that pack. And there's some agents that we can actually use on there. You have to use agents to keep the metal, actually the asphalt from sticking to it. Release agents, there's some environmental ones that Beaver has that we'll be using. That instead of the old method using diesel fuel, we won't be doing that.
All right, now to get this asphalt, you're gonna have to run down into Comstock Park or so anytime you need a bunch, that's where you'll get it then?
Yep, you have to go to an asphalt plant, whatever one, we'll call the ones around and see what they're running. Usually when you're doing, you'll call in and see what finished mix they're running. Make sure they're not using like something that's too sandy, because sometimes they'll say, hey, I'm running a finished mix, but it might be something for a bike path. So we wanna make sure it's like something like in a 5 AE or, but maybe if, for example, if we're not doing finish, they were saying we're doing something a little bit deeper, we'll do like a 4 AE or something, make it a little thicker, then come back the next day with the top. Cause you can't really mix the two, but I don't think anybody would notice if it's 5 AE at the top anyways, it's compact. But yes, that's what we would, but that's what staff was doing before, they would go and get, they would go get a load though, and not have it heated and bring it back,
Right.
and they would have it for hours, and I checked the temperature one time and it was the same ambient temperature, there was nothing there, so that's when I stopped it, I mean, they were just putting gravel down, and that's all it wasn't.
There'll be a difference in patching, there's no question about it.
Well, there will be, like I said, it'll be very, but you do have to watch, you have to watch it, the one good thing about this also is when we're cold patching in the winter. You can actually use this as well, cold patching, turn the temperature real down, but you get that cold patch nice and pliable. And actually jump on some of the patches a little bit quicker, even during the thaws that we're having right now.
With the cold patch, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually let it set overnight.
You can, yeah, and you can actually do that as well with the hot mix. You can get a hot mix actually the night before with this timer. You can actually set it up and you can have it ready. And have staff start first thing, 7 o'clock in the morning. Everything will be parked outside in the heating unit and be plugged in, and then you can take.
Isn't there a length of time though that you can keep that hot patch warm before it
Yeah, there is, and usually in
gets
a
baked
day.
out or whatever they call it?
What you do is you turn it down a little bit, then you ramp it back up. There's a program in there, you turn it down, and it turns down, but keeps it, then you ramp it back up and eat it.
Yeah.
So,
What's the estimated delivery? For
Well,
the
that-
equipment?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't ask them that. I think they have, my understanding is they have a couple actually on site, but what we're asking for to add on, I don't know what the delay would that be, but I'd say pretty soon, within probably 30 to 45 days. we should have.
Alright. Entertain a motion to approve the purchase of one Falcon 2-ton trailer mounted asphalt hot box from Alta Equipment Company through the My Deal Cooperative Purchasing Contract in the amount of $37,080.47, including delivery.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Peoples,
I'll support.
support by Braybrook. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Okay.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thanks, Bill. Roger Park Design Quote Approval.
Okay, I'm gonna start off, but Bill might have some to add on. Council notice in their packet, so I had kind of a generic memo just outlining what this was. It should be no surprise to council because we talked about it, I believe, at last month's meeting about getting out to bid or for quote on the design for the bathroom with the goal of starting construction on that this year. So, that being the case, we're on kind of an abbreviated timeline, but we still gave bidders, I think, what was it, about 10, 12 days on this, I wanna say? Something like that. We did get 2 bids back. You have that in the supplemental memo in front of you. One of them was from Andrus Architecture, who's done quite a few projects for the village over the years, and then another firm that should be familiar to everyone, Driscon Consulting, right here in the village of Sparta. They've done some work in the community as well over the years. Driscon came in at 35.5 and Andrus was at 55,000, and we had no other proposals. So we reviewed them, made sure that they were apples to apples and were responsive and included all of the design elements that we asked for in the RFQ. Both did. Given the case, staff is recommending Driscon for 35.5. Anything to add, Bill?
No, sir, you covered it all.
Any questions?
There's no plans then yet, they don't have any.
Right, that's what this is for. So they're gonna do, so they're gonna basically, as Bill and I like to say it, kind of take it cradle to grave, right? Gonna go from maybe the picture we all have in our mind to getting it bid out and helping us oversee the contractor too. So no, we don't have a design yet.
Okay, cause I had a concern with it having it locked at night, so no homeless or anybody would get in there, so it just.
Yep. Great point. We're gonna have a policy on that for the new train depot bathroom as well, which will apply to this one too. So we'll
Right.
absolutely make sure we take care of that. I agree with you, Tom.
Is there a sanitary sewer that runs through there?
Yeah, the nice thing is there is, so there's sanitary sewer and there's water, right near the splash pad. So, we'll be able to tie into that. We're looking at a couple of different locations there, but the nice thing is a lot of the infrastructure is there, so we'll save a bundle in that regard. So it'll likely end up being, if you know where the porta johns and changing area by the splash pad are now, it'll be there or maybe where the swing set is. Bill and I were talking, the swings are kind of older anyway, so we may put it there and then move those elsewhere and get new swings since that swing set is a bit aged. That's a couple of options that we're looking at, but we'll talk about it with our design team and kind of go from there. But if we put it in that general area, the sewer run will be really short and the water's right there too. So we evaluated it with all this rain we've had and the flooding. Those two areas are dry right now, even with the flooding, so we want to put it somewhere where we don't have to, build it up too much. It's kind of thought process. Sorry, anything to add on that, Bill?
No, sir, you covered it well, you got it.
So,
That's exactly it.
So it looks like the biggest difference between the two is one has site civil engineering of 28,000 and then the other one doesn't have that.
They just called it something different. They called it design construction documents, MEP specs.
Okay.
Those are the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just worded a little bit differently in the proposal, but they are the same thing.
Alright. Entertain a motion to authorize village manager to enter into an agreement with Driscon Consulting LLC for the architectural and engineer design services for Riders Park restroom facilities in the amount of $35,500.
Make that motion.
Motion by Cummings,
Support.
support by Owens. Further discussion? I myself am happy to see a local company getting this.
That's what I was just thinking. Nice to see a local company jump in.
Yep. And judging by the bid, he definitely is doing it at a discounted rate, so.
I think he really wanted, I talked to Tim today, I informed both bidders, obviously it's literally and figuratively in his backyard, so I think he's, was pretty excited about it and wanted to bid it pretty aggressively, given that, so it'll be nice.
Good people do a lot for the community, so. Alright, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Moving on, Wow House repair project bid approval.
Take it away, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Making it easy for us, Bill.
Well, we have two well houses, everybody's familiar where the water plant is, it's those two smaller buildings, well houses 2 and 3. From what I can tell, actually, from the records I can find, those wells haven't been used, or I shouldn't say hadn't been used. The pumps, they pump water, but not through the plant. It could be more than 10 years, but they haven't. So that being said, my goal, and Jim can attest this, is I was gonna get these things running. Because from what I can find, the wells themselves test great. It's just the valves and stuff tied to them. So initially this year I was told, and Jim loves this one here, because I was told, because Jim's heard it a lot of times, and so have I. So I was trying to get both of these valves running. We picked a date on the calendar, we're gonna start these wells, we're gonna get them running, we're gonna see what they're doing, we already ran an analytical on them, we already did vacuum tests. First thing I did was open a valve, and it was the furthest valve downstream, and then there's an air release valve, that's on the other side of a check, and I heard air coming out of it, and the well's not on. I said, well, that's not supposed to happen. And then water's going everywhere. It was not just water where that's repairable, it's water like, shut her down, and we're gonna get this replaced. So I tried both wells, same thing. Part of actually our water reliability study does call for our firm capacity to be these two wells. You're supposed to be able to take our largest well out, which is well number 4, and you take that out, you're supposed to be able to use these wells as our firm capacity, and that's not our case. This isn't our firm capacity. Firm capacity is supposed to be something that can run on a generator. That's not this case. we can't run these. We're actually only dependent on, if you think about it, we have 4 wells and we only have 2 wells running. So why would we even go out trying to look for another well? I say put money into what we have and get these wells running. And then also then later on, do a wellhead protection plan, revamp that, but in the meantime, get what we have working. So I actually put out an RFP and had at least 3 contractors. I had more than 3 that came out. I had at least 5 that I was in talks with. Only 3 did. So Northwood Sites, Siteworks, which are the ones doing our lead and copper service replacement. They do a lot of small, so they're familiar with pipe work. We had Dan's Excavating and Right Away Plumbing. Northwood and Dan's Excavating, they came in really close. Right Away Plumbing came in a little high. I did have a lot of talk with Peerless, but they never bid. So we're looking at actually to replace, and in the well house, it's everything from the pump itself through actually, all the way to leaving the plant. So we have this is 2 valves, a T, a check valve, and an air release and some piping. We are eliminating meters on both of them because the meters aren't necessary. We're reading everything coming into the plant. And we don't have a meter for 4, and the other meter we have for 5. It's never worked. So we meter everything coming in, and that's what we judge actually our water loss anyways, and coming into the plant and leaving the plant. So those are our need 2 meters. So it's not necessary to put one in. And with that too, we'll have a sample plan on there. So with this, and I'm crossing my fingers that this is gonna be it, but I'm bound and determined to get these 2 wells running. I really think as a community, we need to either get them running or eliminate them. One of the 2. But I do believe these wells are operational and can be. They need some new piping in there, then a little TLC paint, and then get them working, and it's the same thing with what we did actually with wells, with well 4. Well 4 was only used maybe once a month. I had that in a rotation, and my plan is to include these 2 and 3, the similar rotation we have. So 2 and 3 are up and running, and 4, then when 5 is running, maybe 5 with 2. So they're gonna be constantly running, so I think that's gonna improve over time, but like I said, the tests that I've seen actually of those wells, there's nothing wrong with them. And that's the actually Peerless when they did their testings. So I'm here to answer any questions the village may have on this project.
Anybody have any questions?
I appreciate you bringing this forward. I know you and I have talked a number of times on what's going on with those 2 wells and so appreciate you doing the work to get them online.
This has nothing to do with those wells, but well 5, it's no longer pumping any sand, is it?
No.
Okay. That was a sandbox maker for quite a while, so.
That's a good sign.
I mean, it's like as it does, we do like 850 gallons a minute with it, but well 4 is a little better, like at 1,050. And that's with, for example, like I just discussed, if you have like 5 going, you could actually then have 2 going at the same time. And have both of those get 1,000 through the plant. Get a little bit more reliability. Plus it kind of does go back to our firm capacity, getting 2 and 3 up and running.
All right. Entertain a motion to award the contract to Northwood Site Works in the amount of $28,198 to replace the discharge piping assemblies in well house number 2 and well house number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Carlstrom,
I'll support.
support by Taylor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Appreciate it, Bill.
I'm happy to hear that we're finally getting them all online.
Moving on, we have no executive session. Village manager, do you have anything further on your report?
No, not too much. Certainly, just want to thank Bill. As you guys can tell, he and I worked together on the majority of the agenda items today, and thank everyone who came. I think a lot of important projects. I mean, from doing roads to being able to patch roads better, new bathroom for the park, new houses for Bedford Falls, more chickens for folks who want them. And obviously, you know, the work going on at the wastewater treatment plant. So all, as you can probably see, there's a lot of synergy between all these projects. They all work really well together. So I was happy to have this all ready for you guys, you know, at the beginning of the construction season. And just like in the last couple of years, you can see we're gonna be busy this year with all these projects, but they're going well. But with that, that's all I have.
Any questions for Jim? All right, Bill, you have anything further? Any questions for Bill?
Can you
Chief?
send, can you, can you send me those analyticals? For
Yes,
as
I
well? Yeah.
Chief, you have anything?
Nothing further.
Any questions for Chief? Robert, I so wanted to call you a nerd, so I'm gonna call you a nerd.
That's okay. That's okay. Wear it proudly.
We all know it already, so you do an awesome job at what you do, though.
Thank you.
We're all going, what was that you just asked for?
I knew what he asked for, I'm just wondering why, but that's why you're so valuable here, so. Mike, you have anything?
We got our first load of jet fuel today, so, that went into the tank. We still have some, checks and heater calibrations to do yet. Hopefully we'll be selling it soon.
Nice. Any questions for Mike? Conrad?
Nothing.
Questions for Conrad? All right, moving on. Communications. Anybody have any communications?
Nothing further from me.
I'd like to make a quick comment. Robert and I attended the township meeting the other day, and the supervisor's making claims, and I hear it from some other people, that if the village become a city, we definitely are gonna have to raise our millage rate. And that is just completely untruthful, so, I've been on the council 24 years. We've lowered that millage from past administration, past council members to the present to 12 mills. We've been 12 mills for 15 years. I don't see anybody in their right mind that would think for 1 second to do something that potentially is gonna raise the millage rate within the village. That's not what we're elected to do. By becoming a city, if the residents vote to become a city, guaranteed, it will be 1.2 mil deduction overall on the millage rate being paid. The only way you can guarantee it, though, is if the council agrees with it. So I myself, as a council member, if I'm sitting in this chair, I will advocate for the 1.2. Financially, we can do it. So just want to try to get a clarification out there to head off all the false information that's being given. So anybody else have any communication? All right, moving on, payment of bills. Entertain a motion to pay the February payables in the amount of $500,638.04. Bill?
I didn't get them all read, to be honest with you, so I feel a little funny, but I trust Mr. Carpenter. I'll make it a motion.
Taylor's spending money. That's all I wanted to say, Bill.
That's why we all stopped, didn't say anything. I'll second.
Second by Braybrook. Any discussion on any bills? It's clarified in the past. I mean, it's not in the packet, but the council gets them bills, days ahead of time to where we can review them, question them, so.
Yep, it's just with the advent of AI, we can't really put them in the publicly published packet, but the council's provided them ahead of time. Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right, public comment. This time we'll open the floor for public comment instead of going by lines. Anybody have any public comment? All right, hearing no public comment. Council member announcements. Hearing none, adjourned 7:49.